Going deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. And today the Senate cleared the way for a $1.2 trillion hike in our debt ceiling. Senate Republicans could not block President Obama's request. We spoke with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell a short time ago. Senator, nice to see you, sir.
Greta, good to be back.
Okay, so last August there was a big battle over what to do about the debt ceiling, and a deal was struck among everybody that there would be 3 times that the debt ceiling would be raised, and the most recent one, the third one, is now. But in the Senate there was a vote to prevent a ceremony. I guess it wasn't a real vote because nobody expected it to prevail. But explain it.
Well, what the Congress did was give to the President the authority to request us to raise the debt ceiling. He submitted his request. That's subject to what we call a resolution of disapproval. In other words, I don't agree to raising the debt ceiling. If that passes, he can veto it. So it didn't guarantee that he got a debt ceiling increase, but it made him ask for it. We thought that was appropriate. He's the one who's been engaged in increasing the national debt 35% over the last 3 years. He's asking us to increase it more. We thought the responsibility ought to largely be on him, and it is.
Well, as a part of the deal, there was a super committee created, and they were supposed to, by Thanksgiving 2 months ago, come up with cuts so that we could figure out essentially how to pay for this. And if that didn't happen, there'd be an automatic cut that would go into effect beginning January 2014. Now that the President has asked for the third raising of the debt ceiling, part of the August deal, do you anticipate between now and January 14th he's going to have to come back and ask for more money to raise that debt ceiling?
Yeah, I think the Secretary of the Treasury will let us know when they're going to ask for another one. It was anticipated, the administration was awfully interested in not having to ask for this again before the election. But only the economy and the receipts to the federal government will determine at what point the President, or maybe even the next President, ask us to raise the debt ceiling again. We simply don't know for sure. But the debt ceiling increase that was approved in the Senate today will cover the anticipated debt that the administration anticipated through the end of 12.
Right, when the deal was cut in August, or the anticipated when the President would come and ask for his 1, 2, 3 raising of the debt ceiling, was it anticipated that he would be asking for the third and final one under that deal as early as now?
Yeah, it was. I mean, this covers basically the $1.2 trillion sequester that will go into effect over the course of the next 10 years. So the sequester is counted in to the debt ceiling that he requested. He didn't want to have to deal with this issue again before the election. And as part of the broader agreement, we gave him the ability to ask for it, but we also gave members of Congress the ability to vote against the request, and many of us did.
Right. So what's going to happen? I mean, the debt ceiling keeps getting raised.
Well, we're going to have to quit spending at this rate. I mean, this administration has driven up the national debt 35%. This year alone, we're going to run a $1.5 trillion deficit. We've been on a spending spree of gargantuan proportions for the last 3 years. That's got to stop. Unfortunately, those of us who would like to spend less do not control the government. We have the House of Representatives. We do not have the Senate. We do not have the White House. And so the ability to reduce spending and get a result that actually, we can advocate reducing spending, but getting a result out of a Democratic Senate and Democratic President has proven to be very difficult.
Does the Senate have any appetite at all for cutting the spending, or is it simply a fight over what they spend, what they cut?
Yeah, I remember asking our colleagues on the other side, is there anything in the budget, anything you'd be willing to cut without raising taxes? I can't find anything. We can't seem to find anything they're willing to cut unless we also raise taxes. And look, we don't have this problem because we tax too little. We have this problem because we spend too much. You could basically take all the tax money of all the individuals in this country who are in the so-called top 1%, and you couldn't cover the deficit for 1 year.
Have you spoken to, do you ever sit down, just the two of you, with the Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and talk about, how to sort of figure out what to cut, whether there really is anything to be cut without the companion raising in taxes?
Sure, we've had tons of conversations.
What happens?
We don't get anywhere because the Democrats don't want to cut spending. They only want to raise taxes. No, I just told you.
I know you said that, but there must be something they want to. How about waste and fraud?
I can't get them to cut anything.
Not waste and fraud?
I can't get them to cut a penny without raising a penny in taxes. Well, we already take in a huge amount of revenue off of taxes. We can't solve this problem by raising taxes.
Well, I'll tell you how I think, if I'd be so bold to speak for the American people, this is what they see, is they see a tremendous amount of money in this waste and fraud pot that could at least help a little bit, and it's not going to change the debt tremendously. They see the report this week that there are a number of people who work for the federal government in the executive branch and here on Capitol Hill, staffers who are behind in not paying their taxes, you know, that they've got a tax bill. I mean, they see that there is money floating around there that, you know, presumably could be collected somehow, whether it's the waste and the fraud or the unpaid taxes by federal employees.
Look, everybody's in favor of getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. I'm for all of that. We can start tomorrow. But that isn't going to be nearly enough to cut the spending in the amount that we need to do to begin to get our house in order.
It sends a message, though. It sends a message to the American people, because Senator Tom Coburn
is... Well, we need to do more than send a message. We need to do this sort of thing, but we need to get a significant result. Look, we have a debt now the size of our economy. That looks a lot like Greece. We are on the way to a complete entitlement society, just like Western Europe. And if you want to see where we're headed, just watch what's going on in Europe. That's where we're headed.
We say that we're beginning to look like Greece. If the status quo stays in your mind in terms of where we're headed, where would you anticipate we would be, Greece?
I don't know how quickly we get there, but we'll get there a lot quicker than any of us would like. And when you've got a debt the size of your economy, which we already do, we already begin to look a lot like Greece, a lot like Western Europe. And you know, the best way to sum up what they've done in Western Europe, Margaret Thatcher once said that the trouble with socialism is that pretty soon you run out of other people's money. And that is exactly what's happened in Europe, and we're on the same path. This administration is leading us down the same path. Unless they are stopped by the people of this country in November of 2012, they will try to continue to take us down the Western European path.
In your view, I know that you want a Republican president, you want a Republican Senate. In your view, if we have President Obama gets a second election and the numbers don't change in the Senate, and we have another 4 years as is, where are we going to be 4 years, our country, from now?
Well, unless the president has an epiphany, if he has a second term, if the same Barack Obama shows up in the second term and objects to any effort, serious effort to cut spending or to save entitlements for future generations, we'll make dramatic progress in the wrong direction, heading in the direction of Greece.
Point of no return, or we can always back up and come back?
Well, you know, no one knows where the point of no return is. You used to think that having a debt the size of your economy was a point of no return. We've already reached that. And the only reason we look as good as we do is the Europeans look so much worse.
Senator, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Straight ahead, President Obama.